All right, late update. It was a long week in D.C. for Police Week. I'd like to thank the Gold Star families of Officer Crowley, Weska, and Martinez for allowing us to join them in their journey, placing their loved ones on the National Wall. They had a phenomenal dinner on Tuesday and kind of just tried to break the ice before the heaviness of Police Week really set in. I think it was appreciated by all. It's kind of a tradition we started a few years ago. I'd like to thank DC Lodge 1, President Rod Burgson, who went out of his way to make sure that everybody, he had a team of volunteers, there's too many to name, but went out of their way to make sure officers from across this country were welcome at Tent City. It was a great setup this year, and specifically making sure that the Beyond the Call of Duty End of Watch ride got a prominent spot with the rolling memorial and got the name and brand out a little more to officers and surviving family members from across the nation who came across to see this memorial and point out their loved ones. I got to tell you, there was some really amazing moments watching people walk across from Tent City to this memorial and be pointing out the side of the memorial for officers they knew, worked with, or related to, whatever the case may be, and then sharing their stories of how their loved ones were taken. Pretty powerful, to say the least. But on we go. That's just the nature of life. Let's talk locally. The P320 issue has not been resolved. The city has not budged. They have pretty much said SIG has offered a $95 trade-in. You basically trade in your 320 for another one of two SIG models and pay $95 and you're good to go. That's unacceptable. Our previous demand of $1,000 reimbursement for the weapon of the officer's choice stands. And since the city has basically said, go pound sand, the interest arbitration demand has been made. We are waiting for the panel of three arbiters to pick from, and we will go from there. The PVPA is in the same position. They will be holding their own interest arbitration separately from us. We also took the step of filing a brief with the consent decree judge, Judge Pallmeyer, and trying to get a hearing in front of Judge Pallmeyer about the consent decree issues, especially the sanctity of life terminology that is in the consent decree, and how the city apparently doesn't give a damn about sanctity of life when it comes to this weapon issue that they have created and refuse to have a fair solution for. You know, the hope is that the judge sets a hearing, a status hearing for the filing, and we can get some relief through the consent decree judge, because the city doesn't want to do anything, and neither do the aldermen. There are two committees specific to law enforcement in this city. There's public safety and police and fire. And the chairman of both of those, Alderman Taliaferro and Alderman Hopkins, have not called a committee hearing to address this issue at all. They have both been made aware of it. The consent decree monitor, Maggie Hickey, has done nothing. Nobody who have been made aware of the P320 issue have tried to lift a finger to resolve it. So we'll see where this goes between court and interest arbitration. Springfield, Senate Bill 42. It eliminates the requirement for an odorless container for weed in the state of Illinois. The same politicians who couldn't wait to pass the weed bill so they can steal all that tax revenue for whatever ridiculous projects they want across the state in their own little self-interests now are trying to get away with the odorless container requirement. It's passed the Senate 33-20. It's going to go up to the House somewhere tomorrow or the next day to see if it passes there, and then for the governor's signature should it pass the House. I would encourage everybody who watches this video to file an opposed slip in the Illinois legislature website. Senate Bill 42. It is beyond ridiculous that the position is now just carry whatever weed you want, put in a baggie, doesn't matter, as long as it's a sealable container, doesn't have to be odorless. And there's only one motivation for all of this. They want less of a reason for officers to be able to stop individuals to end up detaining them and arresting them. It is what their battle cry has been for the better part of 5 years since the Safety Act, and long before that. Less people in jail, regardless of whether they're breaking the law or not. It does not matter. That is just the mindset. Less people in jail, specifically according to the mayor and many politicians, black and brown people. They've said it. I'm just repeating it. People don't like that, but I don't give a damn. It's were their words. I'm just reiterating them. And speaking of the mayor's words, it's kind of ironic that the federal government's now going to be investigating the city of Chicago for its hiring practices. We certainly know promotions have been very racially and merit-based with who you know. Well, now it's the hiring practices that the mayor actually bragged about. That's how much of a genius he is, that he has admitted that he is hiring mostly black people to run this city because they are the most generous ethnicity there is on the face of this earth. I mean, you can't make this crap up. This guy is so dumb, it is frightening that we have 2 more years of his insane policies. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe the federal government just has to figure out a way to cut off all federal funding to this city and just cripple it to the point where they have no choice but to do something different. Because the path we're on is pretty ridiculously dangerous, to be quite honest with you. I'm trying to be careful what I say. It's really hard to not get frustrated and pissed off, but I'll have more information as we go. Stay tuned, and the taste of the FOP general membership meeting is at noon on Wednesday. Stop by. There'll be a lot of good food, some information, and away we go from there.